Talk about setting up the non-conference schedule and what you want to do to get ready for ASUN play.
Yeah, so as our program improves, we look to improve our schedule and the strength of schedule too. So we open up with Monmouth, who is a perennial NCAA tournament team. We want that because we have top teams. We have Liberty, who's been NCAA tournament team. We have Florida Gulf Coast. We have Lipscomb, who has beat top 25 programs. So coming into our conference just keeps getting stronger and better. So we want to prepare ourselves in the non-conference for that. And that's why we have local teams, but that's also because we want to be a top team in the area also.
It's funny because I asked you earlier about how you've evolved, what you've learned in your first couple of years as a Division I head coach, but what have you learned about the ASUN in particular now that you can use to better prepare for future seasons?
Learning the ASUN, the style of the coaches, I think, is the big thing. You can have an understanding of their team, watching them a few times, but playing against them, you see how your team's going to match up with them. And I think over the couple of years, we've learned that. Even like playing a Stetson, that's why we know how we can match up with them. We know how we have to start playing certain teams. And I think that's where each year keeps building of this is how our team's going to match that opponent. And I think last year we dropped some games that we definitely could have and should have won. And that's what we're expecting this year, to come in and pull out those wins now.
I think even our first game of the season, Monmouth, just how hard everyone worked, and it reminds me of actually my freshman year when we played FGCU, and it was almost had them in a tie, but unfortunately lost to them in the last minutes of the game. But that was probably one of the highlights that I look back at my time at NJIT. That was just such a great game for our team and just how well we worked together. And even our first game of the season, like having that already and just being able to grow that this season, I'm very excited for conference play.
It's exciting, and that's kind of another reason that I chose NJIT, is because I wanted to be a part of something, I guess, bigger than myself, in a sense that, there's teams that have won their conference every year for the past 5 years, whatever, even more so. But this team, to be on something that's going to work their way up, is even more valuable.
Respect all, fear none. Talk about that, what that means and how it fits into the program this season.
The team came up with that slogan this year. Every year they come up with something different. And I think it fits of how we want to be going into our season, especially our conference play. Because the big names that you see, like we said, Florida Gulf Coast, Lipscomb, Liberty, you see those names all the time. And there's no reason why we can't beat them. If Stetson beat us last year, they would have been #1 in our conference. They would have been hosting the tournament. So I think it's one of those that we can't fear those teams going into it. We have to show up and play our best every single day, but there's no reason why we can't win those games now.
And then the program will keep elevating because, come later this fall, the field's going to be open, of course, on campus. What's that going to mean to be able to have that home stadium right there by the WEC on campus?
You can't imagine what it's going to feel like when we have that stadium on campus, and that the girls can play in front of their peers too. Being back on campus, play for their school, that's the #1 thing. But there's also other aspects that go into it also, of that we can train right there.
The WEC is great, and granted, it's not the best waking up to construction noises at 6 a.m. sometimes on the weekends, but ultimately this field is going to be ready hopefully this spring, and it's going to feel even more like home. And the training facilities, our trainers are awesome, and right here in this turf area, it's kind of nice whenever it's raining outside, and we would normally have to go to a grass field and struggle a little bit, and then coach will say, all right, we're in the turf. We're like, yeah.
Ooh, so many nice features of the WEC. Probably the indoor turf room, just having that option, especially in the winter when we're training and it gets pretty cold, just instead of the days where we would have to go into the gym, being able to play on a surface that is meant for soccer.
So being back's just going to have a whole new element for it and kind of revitalize, I think, campus too.
It's going to be exciting, obviously, when the soccer field opens up at the WEC sometime later in the fall, early winter. But talk about what the amenities the WEC have provided to the program so far already.
Yeah, the resources that the WEC provides is phenomenal for our student athletes. Besides the turf, the turf allows us to be training all year round no matter what the elements, and the girls play pickup very easily. But the training room is phenomenal, that the staff can get our players back a lot quicker. We have the underwater treadmill that if anyone has lower body injuries, they can get in there and even be rehabbing, but they're not losing cardio also. But we have the cold and hot tubs that fit our whole team. It's awesome. And then even the learning center being in there is just great, that you have all of our athletes around each other. trying to get to that common goal that they all are. So it's great that our academic advisors are right in there also, and we can have a great relationship with them too, that it helps us communication-wise, that everything's in one general area now.
You know, last year the theme was whatever it takes. So what's it going to take this year? I know you had the huge season last year, 9 wins, better than 500, 7 shutouts. But what is it going to take that next step?
It's going to take the collective group keeping our focus all season long for us to get there. I think it's going to take all the players that we have all season of putting in the time and keeping that goal in focus, that end goal. Make the conference, make a run at the conference tournament even this year. And I think that has to be the mindset from number 1 to 28 on our roster this year for us to take that next step and get there.
What about personally? I mean, how exciting is this for you? You're year 3, team's had some success. Talk about the upcoming season and your level of excitement to get things rolling.
We're really excited. I mean, now I have a great understanding. It's not figuring everything out, figuring out the conference, figuring out the fields and everything like that. It's phenomenal. Our staff has been on consistent for the past 3 years since I have been on. And Mary and Chris are huge help with it. And I think it's great that the girls know all of us now too going into year 3. They know what to expect. The kids coming in, we recruited them, so they know what to expect from us also. So it's really exciting that now we don't have to start from the basics and be teaching our philosophy and our style. Now we can just keep building off of that. So we're really excited. I mean, I love spending time with the girls even too. It's boring on campus without them, so we're excited to have them back.
I get the sense too that playing for Coach Nick has its advantages. Very energetic, seems to understand, seems to be a very good communicator. What have you found from learning from her early on here in your first?
She's the most ambitious coach I've ever played for. Ambitious in a sense that she is so driven. Obviously this program is in the works and we're working our way up in the ASUN, and that's our goal. I mean, last year it was whatever it takes to make this the conference tournament. But this year, why can't we make a run? And that's kind of how we've been playing every single game.